Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody to season 5, episode 5 of The Climb. I am Proton Plat Player, your host, joined by two returning guests for the season, Ellie and Peak Performance. Ellie is here in the flesh. Peak, he is hiding behind, I forget, who is that supposed to be?
It's Gumayushi. There's
It's
no way you don't know who it is.
Gumayushi. I've yeah, that's some
Shame.
nobody. I don't know who that
Shame.
is, but anyway, Ellie, how are we doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. Just woke up from a nap, so feeling refreshed. Opposite of peak. Got
There
some
you go.
sleep.
Yeah, and Peak, how are you doing? How was your midterm?
Oh my god, please don't ask me about it. Let's pretend it never existed.
Okay, and with that, we will get started with this episode. So we wrapped up the regular season. It was only 7 weeks. It wasn't a full round robin, but all the games have been played. So we're gonna go down in order, and then we will discuss playoffs and other things. So first, Chill Guys versus Harold's Groovies. Ellie, did you have any thoughts on this series?
Um, well, I definitely know the Samira was not Asteria level. Game two, I think they had a Samira. Game two didn't get their first kill until like 23 minutes in. Was was kind of a flop, I think. Otherwise, I think we had a lot of cut and dry 2-0s this time around this week instead of like, game threes. I think that um I think Chill Guys had a lot of good synergy. I think they had some really great team fights. They were just playing really well, and it was a lot of fun to watch. I liked the synergy they had this game. It was really cool to watch. I was able to take some notes from Seeker. I thought he played really good game one and game two.
Yeah, I agree. I think Goblin and Seeker were definitely the highlights here for this entire series. Before I continue, Peak, did you have any thoughts on this series?
Yeah, I watched this series from like Goblin's stream like while it was happening.
Yeah,
Um I I don't know if Harold's Groovies Harold's Groovies is like one of the first team I scrimmed this season, and I thought they were like gonna get it together as the season went on, but I think from these games that I watched, kept making plays, and then for every good play they'd make two bad plays. And
yeah, I agree.
it was really like sad to see because I could see them like almost get it. Like they're almost there as a team, but they keep just like they just
Yeah,
misstep so many times and give back so much gold. But like I
yeah,
don't know.
yeah.
Biddy was on ADC, so I don't know if they were doing this last week. Uh, I didn't watch the games from last week, like or sorry, week 6. For Held Groovies, and if Biddy had like role swap to ADC and Dr. Narcos went to mid then, but it was interesting to see Biddy on ADC instead of jungle. I don't know if I'm remembering this wrong.
Well,
Is it not?
I don't remember. However, regardless, um, yeah, I definitely agree with the series that it just felt like Harold's Groovies because I also was watching from Goblin's POV. Harold's Groovies in both of these games, like it felt like they maybe had a chance to win, especially in game two. They were, I felt like, pretty far ahead at the beginning, but then they just kept on taking these fights bot lane. As I'll scroll down to this game two, and they just fed this Kog'Maw, and then this Kog'Maw just became a monster. As you can see, Biddy and Spirit Climber. Um, Eventually, not a great KDA 3 and 14, but it wasn't like that at the start. It actually was looking fine for them in the bot lane, but then, um, regardless of whether how John Dye artists and Doctor Knockers do, seems like
Mm-hmm.
that you just get the bot lane ahead and you're playing Cog Lulu, and then the rest of the team is basically playing to peel for you or just like protect you. And if you're that Cogmon, like that's your dream situation, and that's sort of what happened is this is how Goblin has played on teams that he's made for literally like 3+ years now. Is that they just play protect the puppy? It's basically like the Uzi comp where they put all the
Pick a
eggs
vein.
in his basket, and yeah, it seems to work out. So,
I was
um,
confused because like for Goblin's team, for Chill Guys, what I had known from like looking at their team before this series was that Kog'Maw is like their kind of best champion that they seem to be really confident on. Because they played it a lot from what I remember, and they had a really high win rate on it. So I assumed it would be permabanned against Goblin, but Harold Groovy's kind of just let it go through and decided to ban other picks instead of it. So I was a
Yeah.
little confused by that personally. I thought they would make the obvious choice of just banning it out and taking something else for themselves.
Yeah, what I noticed in this draft too for game two is they chose Corky Nami first, and then chose Kog'Maw last. So they kind of had a little bit of a flex pick because Corky ended up going mid lane instead. But I know that Rob or Goblin has played Corky in the past as well in the bot lane. A little
Yeah.
sneaky
yeah,
sneak.
yeah. Goblin very flexible. Harold's Groovies ultimately. I don't really have anything. I don't really have anything positive to really say about this team. I'm sorry. It's just like they barely squeaked into 8th place on game time. So they will be in playoffs, but I think that they're probably a first round exit, but we'll talk about that later as we talk about the playoff matches. But let's get into the second match here. Gar's second grade class versus Possum Posse.
Oh, it's a big one.
This is a huge one. This was by far the fastest series I've seen this season in Summit.
Yep.
Um, I'll
Fastest season,
pull it
fastest
I'll
game
pull it
I've
up.
ever been a part
Yes,
of.
absolutely. I'll pull it up for those who are watching here, and you'll see what I'm talking about. Here we, as it loads, there we are. And yep, you're wondering, there's no stats. That's not a bug. This was a forfeit by Garth's second grade class. Peak performance. You got ganked by
Midterms.
classes, midterms, Possum Posse. So they did get the 2-0. Funnily enough, though, Peak, you guys still locked first place. So
We're gonna talk about that later
we'll talk
when we
about
get
that.
to
Yeah, when we get to the match that
the next.
actually, yes.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, Ellie, any thoughts on this match?
Um, 0 minutes, 0 seconds. That should honestly be a record. Like I'd like to see that in a highlight reel.
Yeah,
Um, and then being able to get first place without any game time on your final week. That's also very impressive. Congratulations, Peak.
Yeah, thank you.
absolutely. He speedrun it, min
It's
maxing.
strategic FF. Strategic FF.
Yep. Speaking of really fast series, Ellie, tell me about this. Tell me about this
um,
series because
honestly,
I have
like
questions. I have questions. I'm looking at
um,
the KDAs here for Pyrosis, Hysteria, and Heiko, and I'm seeing they're purple. Their KDAs are purple. They don't have that many deaths, so I'm thinking was this like a Michael Jordan flu game sort of situation where they're just playing weird, or what's going on here?
honestly, I I was quite impressed like with my team this game. I love them. I feel like I've made some really good friends with them. Um, and they were just locked in today. Or not today, but yesterday, I guess, or the day before. Um, and Corey came into the call, Asteria, and he just said he's like, "Let's 2-0 this," and we were like, "Yes, sir." And I think Heiko and Pai Pai just locked in,
They're locked in.
and yeah, those numbers aren't flipped. They really went 10-3 and 11-1 this game. And honestly, I had so much fun. I was playing Melio. I wasn't sweating at all. Like I was just vibing, having fun with my team. We were calming. So I think it was just like a great. I think we were just having some positive vibes in this game, and like when all of us are having fun, I think that's like dangerous in a way. Like when
The
we get
Marmy
together and
effect.
have fun. Yeah, the Marmy effect, like the orange cat energy. Like when we're having fun, like it just can snowball. So yeah, like and then if when you look at game two, like you'll kind of see some similar action there. So I won't speak too much on my own performance. I was just kind of having fun. But yeah, I was really proud of my team. I think they really just locked in this series, and I hope we can continue that energy.
Peak. Any thoughts on this series? I
Yeah,
can also scroll down to game two. Hold on. There
I
we
got
go.
it up myself because I was curious, like what happened, like you were saying, like how did you guys go from like you guys have like every single one of your teammates is like the top of the leaderboards in deaths, which is impressive in it.
9 out of 10, I
It,
think.
like
Yeah, with
I
the
think
specific out.
nine, like most, I think it's a, I don't know if it's a bug or if it's a feature, but like I think Pyrosis has like the top four slots or something. They're all like
Yeah,
different names,
because
but they all lead to his
the
same
alt
account.
accounts. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
so
call it a
they
little
all lead to
feature.
him. But I was looking at it, I was like, even with that out of the way, like your team is all there basically, and like your whole team is up there in debts, and yet you guys are actually smurfing it in this game, which is impressive to say the least. Um, you guys had a good series, and like I think your bot lane, you guys did pretty well for yourselves. I mean, I know you're playing into like a mage and then an Ash, so it's not really much gameplay, but I think overall you guys played really well. Pyros just locked in, just like blew them out of the water. I don't know. This is a weird one. I'm usually used to seeing him with like 10 deaths. Same with Heiko. They're just like battling it out. So,
Yeah,
I don't
I
Yeah.
know.
think I think personally like on these series, I think we we didn't have a lot of deaths. Like normally we're a really aggressive team, like obviously with the deaths like on the leaderboard. But this time like I think we were a little bit more like calculated with our engagements, whereas like usually we kind of just like will attack you like nonstop. So I think that was probably a little bit different with this game. Granted, we've won both ways. Like this one, that game we won, but we also won in the past. Like down like 28 kills and like just dying nonstop. So, um, but for this one, I know for this game for sure, I was having a lot of fun. I was making sure to like try and keep everybody alive, and they were just going off. So again, we had a lot of fun with it. But yeah, it is kind of strange to see like so like low like death numbers.
Yeah, you're like,
So
what is this feeling?
the,
What is this feeling?
surely the numbers are flipped. Surely, like that's
Yeah.
definitely a 1 in
Um,
11 gameplay from Bye
just
Bye.
just a little caveat. I believe it was that no name is Harold, who I believe is on Ohio, and then James Sunderland, also known as Jerboas, Summit Premier League Season 4 champion, was subbing in for Strand. So maybe a little bit of a downgrade there in the bot lane, but certainly I don't think it would have made a difference in this series. You guys definitely just played better. Don't know what to say.
I
And
also think your drafts are really good, by the way, in these games. Like
Yeah,
the first game, the Ornn, Aurora, Echo. I think these are all very strong picks right now. And then just picking like Ezreal safe in the bot lane can't really get touched. And then game two, you guys had. I'm assuming you guys got like the Silas pick into the Malphite, and then you just like clobbered him because that's like unwinnable matchup basically.
yeah.
But
I remember during this draft they took out Gragas and Ornn, and they were really we were scheming in this in our chat. I mean I think our games were streamed, but yeah, we were scheming a little bit in this one. I honestly think
schemers.
that yeah, we are schemers, but I honestly think game one, I wish that so like they tried to pinch my champ pool game one, and I really think with them having a little bit of a downgrade in the bot lane, I think they should have focused probably more on putting their bans elsewhere. Not because I think that I'm anything special, but because I think that the rest of my team is very special. And if all four of them get fed, it doesn't really matter what I'm doing, because they can pop off a lot harder than like their silver four support. So that surprised me when that happened, honestly, without having Strand in the bot lane. But I think it was better that Strand wasn't there because he like whenever him and I play together, I play like super aggressive. It's like something takes over my body, and I'm like
The Marmy
tower
effect.
diving, the
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 Marmy
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 effect.
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 Yeah, so I'm like Towered. But yeah, so Steven not being there was kind of a benefit for me. Kept me on a leash a little bit, but yeah, I think they maybe had their priorities a little skewed with their drafts.
All right. With that, we are going to move on to the next series here. Anglers Won't Back Down versus Tubby Spookies. This one I don't believe was streamed anywhere, so a little bit
No.
of a black box. But I did see some screenshots, and I think this one, I have gotten comments that say like, the scoreboard can lie. I don't think the scoreboard lied in this series. Just looking at this game one, if you look at the bot lane for Tubby Spookies, I don't think anything really needs to be said. Um, but on the side of Anglers Won't Back Down, they put so Crescent Axe is Injustice, but they put him mid and they put Savior top. They had Comet and Gumby in the support and bot, and then they had Won't Back Down back in the jungle. So a little bit of switch up. Obviously, mid to easy's been in the top lane. Rigor Mortis was their new jungler for Tubby Spookies, or I guess not really new, but was the replacement jungler. And this really was just a top side and mid. Obviously, Lord Tubbyton with a pop off performance in this game one, but kills back and forth, and it really seemed like the only thing keeping this game close was that bot lane from Tubby Spookies.
This I think well neither of these teams made it into playoffs, correct? I'm pretty sure both these teams are.
No, this game had playoff implications, and in fact, Tubby Spookies, they had the same amount of points as Harold's Groovies, but
Yeah.
it came down to average win time, and so they lost out on the average win time.
Mm.
So
Okay, that's what it was.
yes, they had the same amount of points. So yeah, so just an FYI for those listening or watching, um, because none of the teams that had the same amount of points actually played each other. There were no head to head, so all three tiebreakers for the teams that had locked points were average win time, which was kind of funny. So, but any thoughts on this series, Ellie?
So I was really sad I didn't get to watch it, and I was reaching out to you to try and find a stream. Um, I I guess like my only thoughts are really like personal thoughts, like knowing some of the players on Tubby Spookies. I think I was really happy to see them finally get a win. Um, have them, pop off a little bit, especially Tubby. I really feel for him, like, and his team. I know that the mental of like losing a lot of games is probably super hard. Um, so really, I was just kind of happy to hear that they were able to kind of pop off and grab away. And I'm sure it was a lot of fun for them, especially with the struggles they've had with past series. So that's kind of really my only thoughts. Because it was kind of like a landslide top side game one, and it looks like again in game two. So not a lot of unique thoughts, but just some personal happiness for the friends.
Well, that was very positive and uplifting. Uh, in this game too, it does look like that they swapped Injustice back, and then Gumby to mid lane, and then Savior back to support. So maybe a bit more optimal, but in the end, it didn't end up mattering. Slor Tubbyton and mid to easy just ended up basically, I wouldn't say solo carrying, but like ended up being the majority of the contribution of winning this series. So, Beak, do you have any thoughts on anything or want to add anything to the series?
Yeah. I think that both of these teams being eliminated now was probably for the best in terms of their mental. I think both these teams have like I know from Gumby's team especially that they've been really struggling to get a handle on this team. They don't know what is the optimal position. They've been swapping around all their like players. Gumby's been playing like jungle, mid, support, like he's been in all three lanes, trying to figure out where it's best to help carry this team. And I know they got their first series win in like week 6, and they were really happy about that. which is nice, but I think there was just like a lot of mismatch within this team. I don't think these players just had it like any synergy within the team. There was like very little, if any, at all. So as sad as it is to lose and be kicked out of playoffs, I think is probably for the best for this, like for Gumby's team especially. I know Tubby's team also had some struggles, but I don't know as much about them. At least,
I've heard
hopefully,
some
they.
things, but that will
I
remain
I've also heard some things, but
unspoken. So
we'll just keep it secret. But I think it's funny that the two teams that were at the bottom got to face off against each other, and there was a chance that one of them, or I guess Gumby's
yeah,
team wasn't gonna make it, but there was a chance
no,
that.
I think Gumby's team could have also made it
Oh
theoretically.
really?
Yeah,
If they won the 2-0.
yeah,
I think it's for the best that neither of them made it. I think they're probably both happy about that outcome. I can't lie to you.
yeah. I mean, sometimes you just gotta put this hurting animal out of misery. Both
Yeah, put
these
it out.
both these teams were animals on the ranch. Both were pigs. Oink oink.
Creatures.
They were sent to the slaughterhouse. Um, so this is the final series for this week that we're going to get into. Final Boss Esports versus Scheduling Nightmares. This was the one that was streamed. This one was a
Yes.
banger. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed it, and it was very surprising, I gotta say, because it
Please say
was
that
a
again.
2-0 for Scheduling Nightmares. Yeah, Peak was very happy for this outcome because this final boss esports losing 2-0 meant that your team, Guard's second grade class, is now was locked first seed. There's nothing they could do about it.
Hmm.
So, Ellie, do you want to comment on this series before I continue?
Um, so this one, honestly, it did take me by surprise. I feel like it took a lot of people by surprise. I don't know. Like
Definitely.
maybe I'm making an assumption, but it took me by surprise. This one, honestly, like I feel like this was such a good game. For obviously scheduling nightmares. I have a little bit more thoughts on game two. I watched that game a little more closely. I watched that live on stream, rather than like reviewing later. But I think it was great to see Baratel up there. Game one, like I feel like he kind of had his like redemption arc a little bit because he didn't get drafted, so he was able to show up and show out. Um, I I thought that there was a lot of good bot lane synergy between Himmelakar and Alturas during that game, and obviously the mid lane we had, I believe that's Sai, um kind of popped off a little bit. I wasn't expecting that for the mid lane. So it was just like all around just like a pleasant surprise of what happened for scheduling nightmares. Um, Especially in that game one. For game two, honestly, I think that my favorite part was the Viego one. I think it was a Viego 1v4.
I don't
Game
think it
two
was
in the
1v4
jungle.
the entire
Or
time,
was
but
it not the entire
but it
time,
was a
but in the
quadra.
beginning?
Yeah, it was a quadra
Yeah,
kill.
Yeah.
it ended up being like a quadra kill, yeah. I think that he had somebody else with him at first, but he really just cleaned that up. It did end up being a quadra kill, so that was so fun to watch live.
What
I
about the 5-man TP? Or
They were
sorry,
going
the TP
in.
into 5, I should say.
Yeah, they were going in. They were like, okay. Um, but yeah, that was really the highlight of game two for me. That was the Viego in the jungle. That I was just like jaw on the floor. Like I was in a call with Pai Pai and I was like, "Oh my god."
You're like talk shit. Yeah.
I was like, "Oh." Yeah,
Yeah.
it was just kind of like a pog moment, but yeah, again, like looking at the damage numbers, even like there's still a lot of surprises. um, I just honestly wasn't expecting this. Like, I think I'm still flabbergasted. Like, I'm still over here and I'm in shock. Like, I'm still recovering,
Yeah.
and I wasn't even part of this
It
game.
was
I just got
surprising. Like it's one thing
here.
to win, but it's one thing to 2-0. And man, so those names you don't see on the left side are Seaboyer, who was subbing in for Ryan, and Spartan, who has been the jungler for Final Boss Esports, and then the other name, the J4. is Nightmare, who for some reason, despite being a co-owner of Summit, doesn't have his name on the website for whatever
Again.
reason. But
Weird.
yes, it was Baratel subbing in on the Orn, and I posted the Shaq meme where it's like I wasn't familiar with your game in trash talk because
Hell yeah.
oh my god, Seaboyer got slammed. And with that like rank differential, I don't know if it's just like the Wukong pick or if Orn's busted or both. But man, Baratel both games popped off. What a goat. And then even Hamilcar, like 957, like you don't expect that from an ADC who is I don't even know if he's gold. He might just be silver. But um yeah, I Tate and Essence just weren't able to accomplish anything. Never saw went 8-5-1, got some nice like picks, solo kills and stuff, but ultimately I do think that like this game one especially was just a draft gap. Like
Yeah.
it was so ego. It was so greedy. Um
Yeah, I totally spaced it game one. I like I said, I'm in shock. I totally spaced it game one. They gave both Hamilcar and Alturas their favorite champs, like also, so they had comfort picks like in the bot lane as well. And then even game two, Hamilcar got Jinx again, and Alturas got to play another engaged support. So like,
yeah.
um, don't know what was going on with the Alistar game two, but yeah, game one they gave them their comfort pick in bot lane, so that automatically like while the game was kind of inching towards scheduling nightmares, I feel like it really helped for that bot lane, although there being like a rank difference, to just let them kind of they kind of scale like Jinx kind of scaled a little bit, but I just now noticed that just came to mind because again in shock.
Yeah. I in the game 2, I think also draft like when you pick a mage bot lane, you are kneecapping your team because if that mage does not get ahead, like you've just lost a player basically.
Yeah.
And the Garen and the Darius were just not enough to make up for the AD damage, and Nightmare just basically solo popped off this game. Like if you look at the KDs, the only one that really sticks out is Nightmare, 10 and 2. So
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say he like 1v9 this game, but he came pretty close to it. Peak, do you have any thoughts on this series?
Yeah, I wasn't like you guys. I wasn't expecting this outcome at all. When we FF to Possum Posse, I was like, all right, well, I guess final Bossy Spirits will take first place because they were looking really strong. And having just played like Gar second grade class, we played against Schedule and Nightmare the week before, and I felt like final Bossy Spirits would be able to like pick it up from there. But their game one draft, like I know you guys already talked a bit about it, but it was one of those drafts where if you don't play perfect the entire game, you will just lose. And it's one of those drafts that's just so hard to execute that you have to keep your tempo, you have to keep your motion like in the game up the whole time. Because if you let go at any point, then the enemy team will just outscale you. I also think Boy Wife in game one completely Giga Smurfed it. Like, I saw some plays out of them with like I think they double rooted with Lux, the Akali and the Xin Zhao right in front of his turret, and then just like double ulted both of them. It was like really good plays out of him. Um, Hammercart got punished a little bit early on, but then just like came back because he was Jinx and they got to scale up long enough. I wonder what Final Boss Esports was. I don't know if Essence is like happy with this any pick because it seemed like it just wasn't what they needed. They kind of needed some sort of front line, some kind of tank to help them pull off some team fighting. They always got picked off. In a team fight, they seemed really all super disjointed. Like Neversaw would go in, and the rest of his team was somehow dying, even though he had like 3, 4 people on him at the whole time. For uh, for game two, I don't think this Talia pick is what you want when you have a Cassidon. It just feels like I also wonder why they don't play something like a Victor bot lane because I think it's a really good strong bot lane AP mage, which I feel like Tate should be able to play since that's what he's usually playing. Is just AP Mage's bot lane, but it also scales up really well. So kind of confused why they didn't pick it. Didn't think about it. They could blind it early too, and flex it with Neversaw if he wants to play it or she wants to play it. But I don't know. Shocking series. I'm happy for the outcome in a way, but I'm not sure final boss is.
Yeah, I wouldn't say they mental boomed, but definitely I think they just got too cute with the drafts. I think they got too cute with the drafts. They didn't have Ryan. I think Ryan, say what you will about him and his forehead, but um he is kind of, I would say, like, he's like a stabilizing factor. I feel like I wouldn't say he's like pop off or like make or break on a team, but he definitely is just able to keep the team in there. And, without Ryan, who knows? So, yeah, that was actually a very important series, by the way, for scheduling Nightmares, because they were at 5 points before that. They were very highly threatened of not making playoffs, depending on the other series. The only way to guarantee that they made playoffs was to 2-0. So they 2-0'd and they made playoffs and they didn't have to worry about it. So, yep, congratulations to Scheduling Nightmares. And so now we are going to move on to the playoff section. First, we're going to talk about the bottom two teams, the ones that did not make playoffs, since it is a top 8 bracket. It is not necessarily, though, a 1 versus 8 bracket. It's sort of that. The teams haven't been selected yet. It's like the top 4 pick the bottom 4, starting with like number 1 gets their choice. So that will be in the announcements at some point. But for now, we're going to talk about the bottom 2. So let's, I guess, give a eulogy to Tubby Spookies and Anglers. Do you have any parting thoughts on these teams, Ellie?
Um, I wish it went better for you guys.
Oh, kind words.
Um,
Kind words.
yeah. Rip.
Oh
Wasn't
my.
meant to be.
Oh no, that's.
Uh, yeah, like
Oh no.
I think it's better left in the past. Like
That's, yeah,
I feel like
I've been on a team like that, so.
yeah, Tubby, Sifra, like just leave it in the past, like too easy, move on, like everybody like just er, go enjoy your free time, like don't think about it. You don't have to do it again. Don't draft it again. And like there you go. Like you like
Sorry, did you say
hopefully
run it back?
no. Mm-mm.
All right. And then
Yeah, so
sorry.
that's pretty much it for my thoughts on that.
Peak. Any thoughts on these teams?
Yeah, I gotta say Gumby's the biggest fraud on the server easily. This
Oh,
guy
it's okay, hold on.
zero
Hold on.
points, zero, 0 points. He's worth 0 points, and he couldn't carry his team. He couldn't put together a team. Like he couldn't coach them to the at least top 8. I don't know, Gumby. You gotta I gotta get some coaching sessions for you. I guess I don't know. Maybe I'll help you out next time. But
Oh,
for I think everyone on those teams just kind of like I think they realized that they just didn't have the synergy. They couldn't get it together, and it was a bit shorter of a season, I believe, this
yeah.
year or this time
Seven
around, right?
seven weeks
So
instead of, like, if it was 10 teams with full round robin would be 9 weeks, so no
yeah,
miracles this
so
time around.
you don't get that long time to really like fix everything. You gotta kind of gotta fix the issues really early on. So unfortunately, there's too many problems, but it doesn't mean that you guys individually are just bad. It just means that you guys didn't find the right synergy, and maybe next season you guys will find a way. Maybe with some different teammates, maybe switch it up a little bit, see how it goes.
Yeah,
See you around.
You want Gumby to succeed next season?
Oh no, I'm gonna stomp him every time, but like it's just like the rest of the players on his team. I'd like for them to try again, and maybe they won't have Gumby on their team this
Dang,
time
you
around.
really
Can't drag
You
him
said Gumby
down.
was the problem. All right.
Gumby
Gu-
is a fraud.
Gumby is a fraud. Thank you, Peak Performance. So now we're going to start from top to bottom. So again, the way the format works is top one gets to pick 5 through 8. So we'll see what Guard's second grade class does. Although I will want to ask you, Pig, do you out of the 5 through 8, who do you want to face?
Um, 5 through 8. I mean, I want Marmee to go on. I want to see them in like semifinals, so I wouldn't pick them. Uh, Ohio, Schedule a Nightmare, and I think Harold's Groovies probably. If we wanted to just take like, I mean, if we wanted to just go with how it usually would be, we'd probably just take Harold Groovy. I think they're the most disjointed of the top, the bottom. Schedule Nightmares in Ohio, I think they've got potential to clean up their game and play it, figure it out by the end of playoffs if they kind of continue through. So
Yeah,
on
I
Harold
mean,
Groovies.
especially scheduling nightmares after that last series, looking a lot
We
better.
played them the week before. Okay, that who knows? They just locked in for the one series
No, I
against one of.
legitimately asked Sai about that. And Sai, they were literally like, yeah, um, or maybe it was Nightmare. I forget. It was one of the people on scheduling Nightmares, and they were basically like, that is the most focused by far our comms have been. Like, this was do or die for us. This wasn't like dilly dally. They locked in. So scheduling Nightmares when they're actually trying, team to be reckoned with. And I do agree. I think Harold's Groovies, the 8, does represent that they are the weakest here of the playoff contenders. I do think that any of the top 4 could beat this team, probably in a 3-0. What are your thoughts, Ellie, on just kind of like who you think Gar's second grade class should face, and then we'll talk about Gar's second grade class just as a whole.
Um, Honestly, like I think probably like you said, like I think Harold's Groovies, because I haven't seen like a lot of like synergy with them. Like I don't think they have it 100%. Kind of like the bottom three teams like didn't have, a lot of synergy, but of course like it's only the, eights coming up to the playoffs, so um I think it would be um I feel like they would also have a chance against Ohio in scheduling nightmares too though. But like kind of he was saying like if they kind of keep it together like that might be more of like a risk like pick. Um and not wanting to go against us hoping that we continue on. That's very nice. Thank you.
Yeah. So, um, and then Gar's second grade class. Do you think this team is able, gonna win it all? Or do we think this is semifinals, finals? Ellie?
I think they could win it all. Like I feel like they're very strong together and very strong individually. So, with that kind of with that kind of team, I feel like they're very dangerous. I feel like we've seen the other top 3 like kind of falter a little bit, but I feel like this team is just like I feel like overall they just kind of have it together. So I think they definitely could win for sure.
And I agree. This team could definitely win it all. I do think that this team is most likely to win it all, not just based off of points. I do think that they just are really well balanced overall. Despite Peak being the biggest fraud on the Summit server.
What?
Um,
Gumby is on this server. There's no way.
nah, Gumbert's a goat. All right, listen, keep your
Oh
name out
my
of his
god.
mouth, or keep his name out of your mouth, I should say. But I do, and also something important to remember is that daylight savings time is activated, so the ADT multiplier has been activated for Gar. So that's something to consider too. A little bit of a hidden power boost. So, but I do think just in general that you guys have a really nice synergy. I think Dragon Tooth is in fact the goat of low top laners. And do you have any thoughts before we move on to the next team, Peak?
I think everyone on my team is performing really well. I think the only time that we've had kind of close games is when I kind of let it go in draft and let them pick what they want, and we started picking some weird stuff that was not towards our usual play style, and it made the games a lot longer and a lot harder, but we still ended up winning them most of the time. Everyone, I'm actually like I know for the community rankings, like foreign guy is rated pretty low on that, but I think he's genuinely really good. Like he's a hidden OP autofilled mid laner for
Well,
some
I
reason.
I'm gonna be honest though. Like, I think the problem with Summit too is with community power rankings is for a lot of people that don't watch the games, stuff like that. Somebody like foreign guy, like I'm gonna be honest, I don't really know much about this guy. Um, and it's I rank him low because I don't feel comfortable ranking him high because I don't know who they are, sort of thing. So I don't think it's like an indictment on foreign guy. But yeah, I mean, just like your team in general, just I don't think you guys have any slackers. I'm gonna be honest.
Yeah, everyone's doing their part, and I think that's the best part is I think everyone's willing to listen and everyone's willing to learn if something goes wrong. Um, I don't think anyone's mental is bad anyway, too, which is like honestly the most important thing is nobody really tilts out if we're in a bad position.
It's not gonna be you when you get bot gapped in whatever
We
series.
if we're down 0-2 and in the third game I'm like 0-5, I might have a generational crash out, but we'll see.
You guys heard it here first. Harold's Groovies 3-0, Gar's second grade class. So, um, Possum Posse. How do we feel about this team? Obviously, they got a 2-0 in their last week. Slammed you guys in the fastest series Summit has never seen. Peak. So,
I wanted to play this team so badly, man.
uh,
I really want. I've been waiting for this team for since the beginning. I've been waiting on this team, and then we didn't get to play, and I'm
yeah,
so mad about it.
that's
I hope to God I see them in
yeah.
playoffs.
See him
I'm
in
praying.
finals.
I'm praying I see them in the playoffs somewhere.
Yeah, probably in the finals. I don't know how the bracket works, but Ellie, do you have any thoughts on this team? Who do you
Uh, mm,
where do
I
you
don't
think
know.
they're gonna be?
After this week's performance, I'm I'm honestly wild card.
Wild
Um,
card, yeah.
I think they might come in. Mm, I feel like this team can be strong, but I feel like some of their mental is weak. Like on this team, like I don't
Uh,
think they have.
I will not confirm nor deny based on
'Cause-
sources.
See,
I
that's
will.
why I'm saying it instead of you.
Oh, plausible
I'll
deniability.
accept.
Thank you, Ellie.
I'll be accepting your Venmo request shortly.
Oh boy.
Um, like I really think that um I think what I know I'm kind of bringing up like Gar's second grade class again, but I think what separates them from the other top two teams is the teams like Possum Posse and Final Boss Esports. I feel like they have weaker mentals. Like not it's not like they're all crashing out, you know, and like but I feel like I don't think that Possum Posse is gonna take it all. Like I think they could come in like second or third place. But I feel like it would be really easy to dismantle this team. Um, I think that they're really good though. Like if they can keep a positive like mindset and like just like stay focused, I think it would be good. So not didn't mean to bring up the other
Easier
teams
said than
that I think
done.
would be good.
Easier said
Yeah,
than
easier
done.
said than done. Yeah. So um, I I just don't think they can win it all, but I think they could stay in the top three like after
Yeah.
playoffs. Like I think that's kind of where they'll settle in.
Yeah. I like this team. I feel like it's fantastic mechanically, but like when they get
Mhm.
tilted, they get tilted. I think they got 2-0'd by Chill Guys last week, by the way, on the week
Yep,
6. So,
they did.
and I like watched that, and
Hmm.
like the comms were certainly interesting. Like this team, I don't know if that like flaming each other is just what they do recreationally, but they, like I don't know because I've heard that like them like these guys like to flame each other and it kind of like motivates them or whatever. But if I was like on a team and I heard people talking like that, I don't know if I'd want to be on a team like that. Like I'm not trying to throw any shade, but like especially I don't think everyone on that team kind of vibes like that, and it may cause issues.
I would cry.
What's up?
I said I would cry.
Yeah, you cry. It's like Marmy, defend me. But I do think Possum Posse. I don't think they're a first place contender. I do think they could maybe be second or third, but I don't think they're first place contender. I just don't think they have it. And Peak, do you have any thoughts before we move on to Final Boss Esports?
In like the rest of the series are BO3, right? No, from now on, or BO5, sorry.
I believe. Well, I'm gonna say something on the climb, and I'm going to get canceled because I might be spreading misinformation. But I think Gamer Destroyer said that quarterfinals and semifinals are best of 3, then finals is
Okay,
best of 5, which I guess
I
would
see.
like copy
Okay.
the LTA format. But um, I listen. I'm gonna say don't quote me on that, please. Um, ask Pyrosis, your Gamer Destroyer, anyone who's watching or listening, please. But go ahead, Peak.
Um, I think that Possum Posse have their moments, and for sure they're strong. Especially like I think they've won a lot of games through ball lane. I think Tim has kind of done
Absolutely.
well against.
Them and Adam
Tim has
are
done
popping off.
really done well, right, in bot lane against a lot of bot lanes. But I think that they with the Chill Guys series, it really showed that if they played into a bot lane that can match them, or like a team that can kind of force their bot lane to not be as far ahead, that they really struggled. So if they're gonna come for the top, then they're gonna have to round out the top side of their map or figure out a way to stop their bot lane from falling behind in any other games. And if they do make it to finals and it's a 5 game series and you're down 0-2, then you got to be ready to play 5 games. Right? If you're crashing out in game 2 in a best of 3, then you need to be ready to play the third game in a best of 5 if you make it there.
All spoken. So, Final Boss Esports, and I'm just going to say about this team. I don't know if Tate just can't play ADCs, but if you're going to make the finals and win it all, I do think you need to be able to play ADCs. I don't think Mage's spot lane is going to work the entire time. Like, it will be exploited by teams that just play standard team fight. It will be exploited. Uh, I think Neversaw has a tall task ahead for her because on most of the teams she's been on, she's like the shot calling, but then she's also like the mechanical player. She's like the high rated player, and like that's a lot mentally. It's hard to perform while you're also shot calling. It's like Counter Strike when there's always the IGL, the in game leader, who has to like make the plays, but usually they have like the worst KD, or they're not the top KD, I should say. I think it's a similar thing. So I do think Final Boss Esports though can definitely semifinals, but I struggle to see them being even a finals contender. What do you think, Ellie?
Um, I definitely agree. I think there needs to be like some ADCs in the bot lane. I think the only reason why they've been able to get away with it is because Neversaw can play carries in mid lane. Like we've seen her on Tristana, and Ezreal in the mid lane. So I think that they could win. But I think they might need to like just have like a really like a heart to heart talk together and try and work out some of their kinks in the team because I think they are very strong. And um I see them having a chance at winning, but just not like it's not 100% for me like where it is with oh my camera fell. Anyway, I'll fix that
Oh
later.
no,
Um
Where's the Marmy Cam?
the
We
Marmy
need the
Cam.
Marmy Cam.
yeah, Marmy Cam. Let's see. Best
All right,
best I
hold
can
on, hold
do
on.
is
Let me take off. I'll take off your
yeah.
camera real
Take
quick.
off, yeah.
Take off your
I
camera,
will
and then
I will magically reappear with a cat. It may
hold
not
on.
be Marmy though.
And there we go. All right, you're off. You're
Woo!
off. So,
Thanks,
um,
guys. Sorry about that.
it's fine.
Anyway, I'm just gonna finish my thought real quick before I fix my camera, and then I'll let you know when it's fixed. But yeah, I could see them winning, but it's just not. I'm not as confident of them winning at all as I am with like Gar's second grade class, honestly. So, um, But yeah, those are my thoughts on that. And again, I'll let you know when my camera's fixed in a second.
Okay, sounds good. Peak, your thoughts on this team?
Uh, I think they're definitely still a strong team. I think they just had a bit of an off day, for their last series, and scheduling nightmare locked in. So I think they might be looking at like people might think they're a little weaker than they actually are. For bot lane, I think if you're gonna play AP Mage's bot lane, you're gonna need to understand that versus teams that know that mages are weak early on will take advantage of you and just keep throwing resources at ball lane to just get you behind. Because if you don't get your core item or even lost chapter on like a Hui ADC, then you will never be relevant. Especially if you're down like 50 CS, then you're really useless. Uh, but I mean, never saw. I know she's strong mechanically, and now she has to also maybe step up a bit more in the comms. I know she still does like command around her team where they need to be in a bit way, but I think it's more of a talk when I was listening in on their team. It's more like a discussion amongst their team versus how I do it on Gar's second grade class, where it's more of a this is what you guys need to do. It's like this is like your next steps. I think it's a little bit more of a discussion for her and her team, which can be good and bad because now you're taking in more input. But if you need to make quick decisions, then you need to be ready to, you know, make that call for yourself, and you need to be ready to own up to it if you make a mistake. Other than that, I still think they're. I think I might see them in finals. I might see them in semifinals.
Yeah,
They're
you're
definitely
like
strong.
I might see him finals and three of them because Gar's second grade class is just that
No,
good.
I won't BM teams that don't have Gumby on them. Right? That's the only teams I BM are
Oh,
Gumby's team.
okay. Well, it's okay. You don't need to worry about that anymore. So
Yeah.
yeah, wow, rip Gumby. All right, we're gonna move on to Chill Guys, and I might be controversial here, but I think these guys can be finalists. I do think that they are scaling incredibly incredibly quickly. Like it's the Goblin magic. I don't know what to say, but also like Cisco, my goat, is just like popping off on these performances, like the Lissandra goat. I was on a team with this guy 4 Summit seasons ago, and it's a blast playing with him. I love playing with him. Unfortunately, Goblin does not record or does not have his team's comms on, but I'm sure it's a blast. And I do think that this team is they're really scaling very hard. 2-0 Possum Posse, and then 2-0 Harold's Groovies, which lesser team, but regardless, I do think like just the protect the puppy comp plus Cisco popping off on like a control mage is going to be a winning strategy here. Loco Poco playing Ambessa or whatever. I think that they can make finals. At the very least, semifinals. I do think that they will make semifinals. Uh, Ellie, are you ready to reveal yourself?
Yeah, I'm here.
You're here. You're here.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We're back.
I'm here. Yeah,
What
yeah,
what
yeah.
are
Sorry.
what are your thoughts on what I just said?
Um, so I definitely agree with you. I think I could see them in the finals. I I really like their bot lane. I and I think the team overall they're just chill guys. They're just chill. So
when you wanna mold or have hot takes, but you're just a chill guy. So
yeah, but you're just a chill guy. So um yeah, I think they could go to finals. I think that if they continue to play well and they continue to be chill, because they're chill guys, I think we could see them there. I think it would be really fun to see too. I like watching them play and I like playing against them. So I don't really have any negative thoughts on the team.
yeah, if I remember correctly, when you guys played them, it was like a 3 game series, and it was just back and forth, and everyone
Yeah.
had 17 trillion deaths. So no wonder you say you enjoyed playing against them because it was an entertaining game. Peak, what are your thoughts on this team?
The Marmy effect in that series was going
Yeah.
off. I'm actually so glad you said what you said, because I definitely think Chill Guys is like a hidden OP team right now.
Dark
I,
horse,
I
dark horse.
they really are a dark horse. I've been watching their games. I've been watching like Goblin play, and I think the team is working really well together. Especially since like the last, so they beat Possum Policy, which was a second place team now, and honestly, they look strong enough to play against Final Boss Esports. At least take it to game 3, if anything. Um, I do wonder again. A lot of their power comes from their bot lane, and I think a lot of the times teams seem to be giving Goblin like Kog'Maw, and I do wonder what happens if he is, if they take that away from him, what happens to the rest of the team. But I do think their jungler GYX is really playing well. Honestly, I think he's like kind of also a hidden carry on this team. I think he's been playing exceptionally well, pathing pretty correctly on most games, and I don't know. I'm excited to talk about or to play maybe against this team at some point in the playoffs, maybe in the finals. I think I'd love a 5 game series versus them. That's for sure.
Yeah, I mean, what you said about Gix, GYX, however you want to say it, used to go by
Yeah.
Onyx, by the way. He, won La Liga back in the day, but what Summit was before it was called Summit. Yeah, with actually Goblin. So, these guys have some chemistry. They go back, and
They're running it back.
even back then, like Gix was popping off on the Viego and the Evelyn and stuff. Like he was putting up basically like 15-0 performances on carry junglers, but so he's been really flexible. And I do think. No, wait, actually, no, I think about it. Gix, he's not just a one-time winner. He's a two-time winner. He also won with Goofy
Really?
Gophers. Yeah, Goofy Gophers. But he was unfortunately relegated to tank duty that season. But
Oh
it
no.
is it is what it is when you have to play Sejuani, but you win the series. So I do think that overall Chill Guys has some great players, and they're scaling hard, and now
One last thing about this team is I do wonder what's gonna happen if we play them. It's kind of one of those things that I think since both teams focus on ball, and I don't know if they're if is it gonna be one of those games where it's like both bot lanes are gonna be neutral and now it's on the top side to carry? Is Dragon Tooth gonna have to go 15-0, pull out the set
you already
and
know
hard
what's gonna
carry the game?
happen. You already two tool Tony is getting ready to put up a top tier performance.
I'll be watching this team closely.
Yeah, we will be pursuing your career with great interest, or whatever that quote is. And now we got to talk about this team. This team. This team. I'm blurred out. Marmy Fan Club, Ellie. Tell me what the hell's going on with your team, please. What's going on?
We're,
What? How are you guys gonna place? I have no idea where to place you guys.
I don't know where to place us. See, if it's like there's that quote like if I don't know what I'm doing, how's the enemy gonna know what I'm doing? Like
I'm a
that's
cutie pie. Holy
yeah,
shit!
yeah. That's
Oh
a
my god.
like I don't know what the fuck we're doing. like, um, honestly, I really think that I think if we continued on the path that we had with our last series and like a couple of our earlier series, even with the deaths, like I think that we could be finalists. Like I'm so biased though, because I really do love my team. Like I think that they're all so much fun, and I love that they've fully embraced the orange cat energy. I feel like it was all inside them already, like Heiko and Pai Pai. Um, but they just like full blown went with it. Having like our little mascot, our little man.
Oh, fantastic! I think that's the best thing that's happened this season. By the way, just Marmy, the cat
Marmy.
himself. I
Yeah,
love seeing him. I love you sending me pictures of him. He is just the cutest cat.
I he is so cute um and yeah, and Marmy is a lover. He's a lover. Done great on the dating show.
Lover and a dater, or
Yeah,
sorry,
lover.
not sorry, not a dater. Lover and a fighter. Excuse me.
Yeah, lover and a fighter. And I feel like that's kind of what my team is like we all can get along and and play well together, but we also like can just like decide to get in a bunch of cat fights with the enemy team, like just jump in there. So, but I think if we keep playing the way that we have earlier in the season and in our most recent series, I think that we can be really big contenders because I think that once we get ahead, like it kind of can go downhill for the other team. So I think I can see us in the top three. If we again keep down that same path. And honestly, at the end, like I was just like, I'm gonna get all sentimental, but I just really enjoyed making new friends and playing with my current friends. So
Aww.
even if we lose,
Aww.
I just
Aww.
I really liked it. I've grown a lot as a player with them, and because like I know I'm like in my rookie season, in my
This is your first season, and you
yeah,
know
this is my first season and my first I just lapped my first full year playing League. Because I've only
what.
been playing for a year.
Okay,
So
I
Crazy,
think
by the way.
that's crazy. You're significant. I think you're significantly better than a player who has only played one year of League, especially like
yeah,
this.
Yeah.
I've played like 2,000 games of ARAM within my
Well,
first
Oh
year.
my goodness, that's where you
So
train the mechanics.
I'm the real ARAM enjoyer. Like that's like my so I only just recently started playing a lot of like solo queue. But
Oh,
I
it's
managed
scary.
to just fight it out in ARAM. So yeah, I was gonna get a little sentimental, but yeah, I just win or lose, like I just had so much fun, and I was just super grateful to be on a team where I can enjoy playing with them instead of having like I was really scared I was gonna get on a team and we were all gonna hate each other because there's been teams like that I've heard in the past. And so
It,
yeah, whatever happens, I was just
yeah, there's like always
I was
one a season,
yeah.
but
Yeah, so I was just grateful, and I'm hoping we do top three at least, or maybe get in the finals. But if not, I would just say it was GG's, and I would do it all over again.
yeah, I think definitely you guys could be contenders for the finals. I don't know about winning. I'm gonna be honest, but I do think you guys can, at least win quarterfinals, hopefully, versus whatever team you play. But you guys are just like such a coin flip. Sometimes you just look awful. Sometimes you look really good, and half the time you guys are looking back and forth. Just orange cat energy. Peak. What are your thoughts on this? Where do you think that this team is going to place?
I think okay, so Marmy Fan Club needs to hypnotize the enemy. To like I think if you guys can force every game into a complete clown fiesta, you guys have a really good chance of just making top three easily. I think right now, besides besides my team, like our second grade class, I think everyone is susceptible to just like falling into like a full fiesta game where you just like start fighting, you just spawn, you go to fight again, you're not like farming, you're not taking towers, you're not anything. So you guys, if you can if you can get the enemy team to just fall into your trap, your Marmy trap,
The
then you guys have a
Marmy
very good
Trap.
chance. The Marmy
Yeah.
trap. If you guys can get them to fall into the Marmy trap, you guys actually have a good chance of making. For sure, like you can do semifinals if you manage it. Um, I don't know if you can get to finals without cleaning up your act a little bit. If you guys lock in like you did last time, then you for sure have a chance at it. But that was that a one time thing, or are you guys gonna keep it up at this point? I know you guys are still fighting for the
I
top
think
deck,
it was a
so
sick day or something. It had to be like
yeah.
some sort of weird Groundhog Day scenario where
Kobe, LeBron, MJ, everyone on the team just like locked in.
Hey, I know my last
Uh,
2 games I've been sick, like really sick. So
well, there you go.
I yeah, maybe it was me, like me being sick made everybody else lock in.
I had a question actually. Was I thought of it. I wanted to ask this at the beginning, but I forgot. Was why did you do this to Marmy? Like your icon for your team is him with like a vape,
And
a
like a
cigarette, a gun in his
Newport and
hand.
a gun.
Newport. Like, why did
Okay,
you do this to Marmy? Who did this and why?
so we had a cute logo at first, and I think Proton has seen it. the original one. If not, like I know Colin did at
Is it
least.
just the picture? Is
Um,
it just a picture of him? I
no,
forget.
so it was a picture, and then I draw. So I did a little halo on him and angel wings, and I put little hearts around him
Oh,
because you
I
can
don't
kind
think
of
I
see
saw
that in
that
our
one.
logo. Yeah, so that was our original logo that we submitted, but then Cookies got a hold of it,
Oh my!
Oh no.
and it was Cookies, and so then we had a huge argument. This was our very first interaction as a team. We got into a call and we were arguing, and so it was gonna be like a whole thing, and then I like we were debating. Like I was like, I'm not gonna argue about my son, but then like Cookies is very Cookies. So then my boyfriend was like, "You're not gonna put a cigarette in my son's mouth." And
Oh
so I
my
had to be like,
goodness, this is getting
yeah, it was like
dramatic.
it was a whole thing, but it was like in good fun. Like we weren't actually gonna fight, but low key, kind of maybe
The
me.
team was falling
Cause
apart
he's my,
before the very first game.
cause he was my,
Holy.
yeah. So then by the end of
Yeah,
it, we were just like making like, we were just kind of compromising a little bit. So like it was gonna be way worse than it was,
This
oh
is
but
my!
I still,
compromised?
That
This
was
is
yeah,
this is the
compromise.
compromise?
that's compromise.
No way. I need
Oh
the
We
no,
spent,
original.
no,
we
I need
that's
spent
the
probably
original.
we
that's redacted. That's lost to
yeah, that's
history.
weird. I finally let him put the cigarette. I was like, okay, he can't have a cigarette, but he can have a jewel,
You can
you know.
have a. Oh my
And then
god.
finally we compromised on the cigarette because it very you can barely see it, but it says candy on it in parentheses.
Oh yeah, I
And
heard about that. Yeah, like when
yeah,
they were
so like
submitting the logo, it was like, "Oh, is this gonna be appropriate?" I'm like, "Listen, I think it's fine as long as it's a tobacco cigarette, not a weed cigarette. I think we're
yeah, yeah,
fine."
not a joint.
Oh.
uh okay. Anyway, um so yeah, so I can send you the original. It's super cute, very wholesome. I think you would love it. But yeah, the original was just him with the angel wings of the
That's
halo and
so
like the
cute.
hearts around him. So it was
Please
gonna
send me
be
the redacted.
cute.
So cute.
Send me
Right?
the redacted. I
No,
need to see
rejected's
the
lost to
redacted version.
history. Sorry.
I don't think Cookie saved that version, but it was gonna be like
Missed opportunity.
tattoos, like a bunch of it was gonna be like a whole thing.
Oh
Anyway,
no, not
Let's
the
get back on
delink of
track.
the
Okay,
tattoos.
let's get back on track.
yeah.
Sorry, we're
No,
monologue
my bad.
monologuing
Yeah, so
too.
yeah, that was the original. I'll
Oh,
send it to you.
okay. Ohio. I think these guys are probably getting knocked out in quarters. I think that they are kind of just at the level where they are, you know, 6, 7, 8, something like that. Uh, Better than Harold's Groovies. I don't think they're better than Scheduling Nightmares. And I love Strand, but I just don't think that this team just has it. I just don't think that they have really good synergy. I don't really know what to say other than like I like Isodidact. Owen's a good player. Like OT Gator could be a good player, but they just I feel like they just don't mesh well. Ellie, what are your thoughts on this team and like where they're gonna place?
um, I don't think I don't. I'm like I don't think they're gonna get top three. That's I feel so mean when I say that. Just because everybody knows like I have some friends in the league and I for Ohio like I don't like to like bag on my homie Steven's team Strand. Um, I just don't I just don't think that I really don't see them making it out. I don't see them in semifinals. I don't see them in finals. I don't really see them anywhere. They're kind of floating
Oh,
in my mind.
you don't see that.
Oh my god.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
That's worse
you
than
so
don't
anything I could have
you
said.
don't see them anywhere. Oh no, listen, that's me thinking about Ohio, but like the state, not the
yeah.
team. The state of Ohio.
I don't see
I
it
don't see it
anywhere.
I don't
anywhere.
know.
I wish I
Do you
don't.
want to say? Should we refer to them as their full name or?
No, that where
No, God no, please.
Yeah, no. Um, like the only team that I could say, like, I think that Scheduling Nightmares is like above Ohio. Like, I know like they're placed in the numbers like for a reason, but like in my mind, like if I were to rank the teams, like it would go Scheduling Nightmares above Ohio, and then Harold's Groovies still at eighth. Eighth. So like Ohio and Harold's Groovies, like I'm not seeing like a positive future, like moving forward. Like maybe if Ohio can like really lock in, then like maybe there's a chance, but I think that right now the top contending, like the top six, if we were to flip Scheduling Nightmares, like I know they're kind of a little interchangeable, but Like I just don't see Harold's Groovies in Ohio moving forward. So those are kind of my thoughts.
And then Peak, your thoughts?
I think I remember that Strand is on this team, and the
On
Strand
my
score
quote.
has been giving me a pain
No,
in
no,
my
no, no
backside.
bias. No bias here. No bias here. No complaints.
Okay. Unfortunately, this team is still a little lost, even after moving around a little bit with their players. I think they had the same issue as like Gumby's team, where they tried a couple different positions to see if it would work, and nothing seems to like fit perfectly. And they had a 2-1 versus Harold's Groovies, which isn't really a good sign because Harold's Groovies has also been struggling this whole season, so I don't think this team will make it very far. I mean, I hope that they can lock in for the playoffs. Maybe they can fix their issues, but as of right now, it doesn't seem like they will.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much all in agreement there. Scheduling nightmares, same amount of points as Ohio, technically lower place than Ohio, but I do think these guys can maybe make semifinals, unlike Ohio. Um, you know, everyone just complain now, recency bias because of the 2-0, but I do think that this team just has stronger potential, especially like Boy Wife, if they can, pop off with good performances, and if Nightmare can also have like good carry jungle performances, I do think that this team can actually take it serious against one of the top four. Um, so I don't really have anything other than to say than yeah, I think these guys can make semifinals. I don't know about finals, but semifinals at the very least is possible within the realm of possibility. And Ellie, what do you think about that?
I would agree. Like I think scheduling nightmares has more like synergy potential. And I think I just think they have more potential to have more impact on the game. So that's why I could definitely see them going on. So I honestly agree with everything you said. I don't really have anything extra to add on there.
All right, Peak.
They're, I think they're above where they are on this leaderboard. I know they're seventh, but honestly, you could put them up all the way to like 4 or 5 even. Um, Whether they lock in like they did in the Final Boss Esports series, that's up to them to decide. But if they do, then they can definitely make it to semifinals. Um, Especially if they really get it together and they really start working well together, then they can. I could see this team going to finals, but as of right, like that's only if they really get their stuff together and they put in a lot of effort. I think semifinals is a pretty okay bet, but finals you're gonna need to put a lot of work in first.
Yeah, it's gonna be a shame when they knock you guys out of semifinals. So
Now you're just the biggest hater of Gar's second grade class, or
no,
what?
no, I like your team. I think it would be funny if like or glazing these guys, and then you get 3-0'd in the semifinals, and next thing you know,
Yeah.
scheduling
Mm-hmm.
nightmares is the winner. So
That would
yep.
be interesting.
Harold's Groovies, we've basically already touched on this team. I genuinely think that they get 3-0'd regardless of the top four. Whoever they get picked by. What do you think, Ellie?
Yeah, I just don't see it happening. At this point, like I feel like they I feel like they're in eighth place, and I think they're gonna stay there. And I just don't see them. I really just don't see them going anywhere. Like I think they probably I think they're eighth place for a reason. And I don't mean to be mean when I say that, because I know there's some nice people on there, but I just don't see it going anywhere. I see them staying where they are. And hey, like at least they made it to playoffs. Like bare minimum if nothing else happens.
All right, Peak.
I feel bad for this team because I think they're the team that I feel like is I've seen them put a lot of effort into trying to fix their issues throughout the season. I know they've been scrimming. I know they've been trying. Um, I've seen them play, and it feels like they're just so close, but yet like just so far away at the same time. Again, they were making good plays, but they were just throwing the gold lead right back in their last series. So I I don't think they're gonna make it anywhere. I don't think they're gonna be able to make it past the playoffs or past the first round of playoffs. Doesn't mean that this team is just like all bad. It just needs to maybe a little bit more development time, or maybe just needs slight changes here and there.
Well, that's the thing though, is development time's over. Like, yes, you
Yeah.
have some like practice time, maybe some scrim or something, but like it's now or never. I don't want to, like, when I say they're probably gonna get 3-0, like I don't want them to get 3-0'd. Obviously, I want a good series here for Harold's Grovies. Obviously, that would make them feel better if they did get eliminated, but I just don't see it coming together. I don't know what to say. No, nobody really stands out on their team, and they're just like, I want your average eighth place team. They're barely squeaked by. They got in there over Tubby Spookies just on calculation. They won faster. But so with that, we have discussed all the playoffs teams. We discussed the bottom two. Um, Real quick, I have a request, Ellie. I don't think the recording, the people on the climb have seen Marmy. Do you think you can bring him in, or is that too much of a request?
No, I can bring him in.
All right.
Yeah, I'll have Michael bring him in. Give me a
Okay,
second.
sounds good. All right, just right before we end this episode, I think the popular crowd would love to see Marmy. And then Peak, do you have any final thoughts here on this for playoffs? Just
Yeah.
anything in general.
I wanted to ask who you think. I think we went through all the teams, and I think we kind of gave a lot of teams like semifinal or finalists positions, like potentially. But I wanted to narrow it down a little bit. I think we were maybe a little too generous at times. If you had to pick three teams besides Gagar's second grade class, because we're going to finals, to make it
You're
all the
funny.
way, who are your top three teams? Like, who do you think really has the biggest chance here?
Uh oh man, I'm not gonna say crucified, but like I do think it is Possum Posse, Final Boss Esports, and Chill Guys. Like just going down the list.
Yeah.
Um I'd love to say Marmy Fin Club could win it all. They're too unreliable. Maybe scheduling nightmares, but I don't think that's anything close to guarantee. Marmy is here, and my day has just gotten significantly better. And Ellie, always playing with your microphone.
Yeah, he does that during my games, so I can't have him with me when I
Oh,
play.
oh, he's a
Um,
little gremlin.
yeah, fun fact, I think it was week 2, he was fighting under my chair during our series. But
That's
yeah, he's
great.
the man, the myth, the
The
marmy.
the man, the myth, the Marmy. Oh my goodness. Oh, did you just
Oh, look at him.
wave? Did you just wave?
Yeah, he's
Oh
just
Playing with the
my,
mic.
yeah,
he's a cute
he's
little
just
boy.
he's got his little
All right.
sockies on.
I
Yeah, but
Any final thoughts on anything for playoffs, anything specific before we wrap up this episode, Nelly?
um honestly, I think I would love to see like some upsets. Like I know we've kind of talked our talk, but I would love to see some upsets, kind of like we had this week. I think it would make things really fun and entertaining.
Yeah, Gar's second grade class
Um,
losing.
Oh
yeah,
my God, you're now the biggest hater. I've turned you into the biggest Scar second grade class
I
hater
gotta
here.
be contrarian, man. I don't know what to say.
yeah, he needs the
Here, bring
heat.
it on. Bring it.
Um, oh, okay, hello. But yeah, I'm kind of excited to see where my team goes. Obviously, like I said, super biased. But I hope we see some upsets just for entertainment purposes. Maybe make it a little bit easier for content. But honestly, just excited to see how it goes. Like me always leaving it off on a positive note.
There you go. Oh, Marmy's stretching.
He's
Oh,
stretching.
stretching. I love him. All right,
Yeah, well,
say bye, Marmy. Thank you, Ellie, for being here. Thank you, Peak, for being here. Oh man, I'm dying of cute. It's just so cute. This has been the sort of like the pre-playoffs episode of the climb. thank you everyone for watching. This episode actually went almost an hour, 20 minutes. So it's gonna be a good one. Thank you everyone. Thank you Ellie. Thank you Peak once again. Thank you everyone for watching. Have a good night, folks.